As the Coachella Valley continues to grow as an entertainment and cultural empire in the California desert cities, Mutual 111 is your go-to for local and regional arts, literature, music, special events, and theater. From the Mutual Broadcasting System studios in Palm Springs, it's The Desert Scene with Bonnie G.
And welcome to The Desert Scene. Very happy to have you with us today. And I'm very happy to welcome back a veteran guest here on The Desert Scene, Tysen Knight, who's a wonderful artist. And he's very hot, been rolling for the past few years. Hi, Tysen. How are you?
Hey, Bonnie. How you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So I know you've always got exciting projects happening, but you got a couple things recently you're talking about. First of all, there was an art expo in New York, and you won the Visionary Award. Tell us about that.
Yes, that was in April, and I went to New York. I was invited. I got represented by a gallery out of Massachusetts, and they invited me to the show. I went down, and about a day or two in, they came down with cameras and and presented me with the award. So it was humbling and I was shocked at the same time, but it was definitely a surreal feeling to win that award. So I didn't see it coming, and I was totally taken off guard. But I just was humble and accepted, and just it made me feel really good, and that other people are seeing my creations and helping me you just bring my artwork more into the world and more into fruition and people to enjoy. Yeah,
and they're seeing your vision too. Now, was this a monetary award or just a plaque or something else?
So basically it was like more sort of like a certificate.
Yeah,
I got it framed in my home here, so it was more a certificate because I think they awarded other artists from other galleries as well from around the world. So I guess they did it in certificate form. So it was a really cool certificate, so I have it framed and put into my studio. So it's just a reminder of the hard work I've put in so far.
Those are wonderful reminders. Now, also the Homeless Street Artist documentary, and I think that's something that's been a long-term project. I think we've talked about that before in the past, and It was an official selection with the Lion International Film Fest in Italy this year, and also the Purple Sky International Film Fest in Germany. So that's really exciting. Tell us a little bit more about the documentary.
That is exciting because we did speak about this before. This film is just like the gift that keeps on giving. I had these two film festivals reach out to me to submit, and I submitted the film. I wasn't actively submitting the film, but they reached out, and I said, of course, I'll submit the film, and it got selected. So this project is really taking on life of its own, and it's kind of beyond me at this point. So I'm just grateful that, I started this film in 2018, finished it in 19. So I'm just excited that, so many years later, this film is still, being seen and people still want to see it and accept it and be inspired by it. So I thought that was really cool.
So, so the film itself, now you follow, if I recall correctly, a couple of different street artists who are very talented and follow their sort of progression. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so I had met this artist out of Palm Springs named Scratch, and he was an artist on the streets. He just sells art so he can, get something to eat for the day and just, create. But, most times his art will be just, out and about in the elements and get lost. So he'll just go find other little stuff in the desert, like, frames, old frames and things like that. He will build these incredible, like, art, structures and, like, these really cool art palettes. And so it was really cool to see that. So I started filming him for a few days, and then a friend of mine knew of another lady named Catherine who was under this underpass over there by Indio by Spotlight 29. So I went over there and filmed her, and it kind of just went from there, just like organically happened, where I was able to get these other artists on, and three of them.
And now were they both willing to chat and share their experiences and lives with you? Because sometimes homeless people aren't all that interested in doing that.
Yeah, you're right about that. So that, I didn't have that issue. I think because it was tied to something creative, and I think everybody that's an artist or a creative likes to share, you create your work to share with the world. So I think that element, kind of played into them being more open to me to just have a discussion about the art. It wasn't more so like, talking about why are you homeless and things of that nature. It was more so just based on their creativity and their artwork. So I think was the catalyst that made it okay and everybody felt comfortable to speak about their creativity.
Now, those two folks, Scratch and Catherine, are they both, has their experience with you and or the documentary moved them into a different space at all, whether it is living conditions or their art? Has the situation changed at all?
Yes, I know for Catherine, her situation changed. It was I was touched one day because I was on YouTube and I had uploaded the film to YouTube maybe about a year or so ago. And her son reached out to me via YouTube and sent me a message and said, thank you for, highlighting my mom as an artist. And I think him and his sister reconnected with his mom, after seeing my film and me documenting their mother and her art. They were able to actually find her where she was at. And I think they reconnected. And
that's great.
So I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really cool that, and her son reached out to me and said, thank you for, spotlighting my mother. So
that's wonderful. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that's what it's all about. So there was another project, Red Dot Miami. Now this is actually coming up in December 6th through the 10th this year. Art Basel, is it Basel? Is that Basel? Weekend? Basel.
It's Art Basel Weekend. Yeah, Art Basel Weekend. Yes.
What does Art Basel mean? I'm not sure.
So Art Basel started in Switzerland. So I think it's a town called Basel, Switzerland, where it's like a really cool art, community. So Art Basel started in Switzerland. So now it's in Miami as well. So it's like a really big weekend where it's called Art Miami Week, where all these, international galleries and, obviously ones in the States as well, the top of the top get together and put on these exhibits, and they get over 100,000, 150,000 people that come through Miami within this week, Art Week Miami. So it's a really, really, really big deal. I'm honored to be a part of it and be able to show my art there and do a live art performance coming up. So that'll be really cool. So I think it's a really great thing.
So I know you work in a number of different mediums. I think, as I recall, you've done a lot of murals around Palm Springs and painted some of the bus stop benches, et cetera. Don't you do a lot of that kind of thing?
Yeah. So I started that project in 2019, and I did 11 of the benches downtown, the bus stop benches downtown. And during COVID, the city loved it. They got it approved. They had Main Street, Palm Springs, which is like all the local businesses downtown. They have their own little group. And they got together and was like, hey, we like what Tysen did. Let's go ahead and since it's COVID, we could put some money in artists' pocket. Let's go ahead and, green light the rest of them. So they brought me back in, and I managed about 30 artists, and we did them all the way uptown, downtown, the convention center, the airport. So it was a really, really, really cool project. And that's also the gift that keeps giving, because they keep contracting me every year to do the repairs on them as they get wear and tear. So excellent. I've been working on that project for over 4 years now, so it's really cool.
Every time I see one of those, I think, that's got to be Tysen's work. That's wonderful. And you now, would you say in your main medium, you do watercolors, or, you work in all kinds of mediums within the art world, is correct?
Yes. So I like to experiment. Yeah, when I was a kid, I would always experiment with different mediums. So I just get inspired. So whatever medium I want to try to venture into, I will try. But my main medium is acrylic, and acrylic for sure. But I've done all pencil, watercolor, pastels. I like to try them all to see which ones that that I have a really good knack for. So yeah.
Now I'm guessing if you often had people commission particular works of art from for themselves. Mm-hmm. And tell us a little bit about that. Is it usually watercolors? Is it self-portraits? Or what kinds of things do people tend to ask for?
Well, it depends. This depends. Like a lot of people, once they reach out to me, a lot of collectors will reach out to me. They kind of already have an idea of my art style, so they'll ask for something within that style. Sometimes I get some portraits. Recently, I've been doing a lot of 3D artwork, where I have 3D glasses because that's my logo. So I've figured out this formula with different paints that I use that goes back to using different mediums of paint and mixtures of different art supplies. And I figured out this formula to actually make art 3D.
Wow.
So I have these 3D glasses, you put them on, and the art actually comes to life. So I've been working on a lot of those lately, and I've been getting a lot of commissions for those type of artworks.
Excellent. Do you ever, it sounds like you always have some project going on. Have you ever had a dry spell since you started this whole thing where you kind of nothing's popping into your head as far as ideas for new art projects?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't necessarily say a dry spell. I do have times where I have things in the works, like if I'm working on a contract or a particular project or waiting. Sometimes things take time, especially dealing with cities and town, and then school districts and stuff like that. So in that meantime, I'll just create something on my own, just something personal. And just come up with other ideas. So if it is a dry spell, it's just more so me being able to personally just paint something I would want to paint for myself.
And last question, real quick. Have you gone into the schools? Haven't you gone into some local schools and worked with kids a little bit on art?
Yeah, I've gone into local middle schools, elementary, high schools. I even went into Riverside and I expanded. I went out into Riverside County and started to work with kids from all across Riverside County. I worked with kids in London, and it's just fabulous, just to be able to. And the great thing about it is that kids everywhere around the world, what I was able to understand, kids all around the world are drawn to art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're drawn to it. So I get that same, inspiration and that same enthusiasm for the kids overseas that I do
wherever you go.
So,
yeah.
Well, so it's definitely universal.
Yeah. Well, Tysen Knight, it's always a joy to talk to you, and you always have so much going on. Again, if you see some of those beautiful multicolored bus stop benches all painted, you can thank Tysen Knight for that. And by the way, your website is, I'm going to get this right, www.tysen, Tysen, Knight, KNIGHT.com, if people want to see more of your work. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, perfect.
And congratulations on all of your recent awards and the documentary and all the great work you're doing. And best of luck to you. And I know we'll talk again soon. Thank you so much for being here today. Yeah. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you. I appreciate it so much for having me on. And thank you to John as well.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Tysen Knight. And next time we'll see you all back here on the Desert Scene.
Join us again for the Desert Scene with Bonnie G from Mutual 111. Be sure to visit thedesertscene.com for more show information and mutual111.com for our full library of episodes.